Good day, everybody. Welcome to this segment of Real Property, Real Auctioneers. With me, Myers Jackson, America's Auctioneer, and today I am with Brian Davis and Newey Auctioneer, and we're going to be talking about the magic and myths of real property auctions. This can include any auction. So what we're going to talk about today, guys, is I want you to get set in right here.
All right.
The number one myth that you think that that is out there, both of you, I want you to think about that for a minute, but I also want to talk about some of the magic that you have seen so far. All right, we're going to call this segment Magic and Myths, and I'm going to get started while you're thinking. One of the myths, big time myth right here. Auctions are only for distressed properties. There's got to be something wrong. Oh, somebody's losing something, or it's a foreclosure sale. That's a myth. It's a myth. It's a myth. I'm looking straight at you now. That's a myth. It's a myth. Dan, did you hear me say that is a myth?
That's a myth.
Is it a myth?
Yes, it's a myth.
Yeah, so it's unanimous up here. And this is why. You know what? Auctions are about bringing excitement to the marketplace. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't get real excited about a distressed property, okay?
No.
You said this the other day, but why? Why would someone sell a Monet at auction?
Or a Picasso or a Fabergé egg?
Why?
Because because they can get the most for that piece of art or that whatever, because the people that come and show up to that auction, they got the money. They're there.
They got the money, but they're excited about this.
They're
excited about the product. Now, don't get me wrong. You can excited about making an investment on a distressed piece of property, but let me tell you what. If you're a home buyer, all right, you're a home buyer and you're looking for a home and you're looking for that perfect home.
That's
maybe,
right.
Maybe it's an upgrade home. Maybe it's your first home, or maybe it's, you know what? I just want a great home in a great neighborhood. And all of a sudden, you see one of our auction advertisements, okay? And we're going to get into the myth and the magic about this right here. But you see one of the advertisements where the auctioneer says, hey, we got a starting bid at X. Mm-hmm. What happens, Brian? Do people start looking?
They start looking, but I may not have X. So I may turn around and walk out,
Why would you walk out?
Because I may not be able to do X, but if the auctioneer says, come one.
So this is where part of the magic is.
Yeah.
A myth is I can't afford the house. The myth is, okay, this is only for distressed property, so let's step this up.
Do I have to bid the starting bid? Is that a myth?
You know what? The auctioneer, that's a myth.
Okay.
The auctioneer, it depends on the rules of how what the auctioneer set out. Right. But I'm going to say it's more of a myth. Okay. Because you can see this relevancy right here on Webcast Wednesdays. So when you log on, you're going to see the properties. You're going to see a tremendous amount of properties just start at $500.
$500, yeah.
Why do we start the bids at $500?
We want
people to participate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people won't be able to participate if the threshold's too high.
That's why I'm going to the Christie auction house. I want to see that original Monet. I want to see that original Picasso. I want to see that Fabergé egg. I want to check it out. I want to see that cool car. But I may have the money to buy that,
So let's go into this right here. Yeah. There's a Monet, and it's $1 million Monet, okay?
Right.
And it goes up for auction, and it says, regardless of what bids you're going to buy this piece of property. We're going to get into definitions about what starting bids, minimum bids, and absolute bids mean. Right. But however, you see something and you say, well, we don't know what the price is on the Monet. Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and transfer that to a house.
Okay.
You know what the house price is?
Right.
It's listed at $750.
Right.
And what did you just say, Newey? I can't pay that. And so many people walk away. So this is the magic. Let's talk about what happens in the magic of the auction process. Okay. The myth is I can't participate. The myth is it's only a certain type of property. But this is where the magic starts right here. The auctioneer asks, what will you pay?
Right.
So how do we know what you will pay? What is the only way that we'll know what you pay?
You just disclose the bid history or the current bid.
You can disclose the current bid, but let's just say that we're just starting. How do you know where to start?
What's the auctioneer asking?
What's the auctioneer asking? So the auctioneer can ask anything the auctioneer wants, but listen, it doesn't matter. I'm going to say 99% of the auctions happens just like this. You've got $1 million Monet, you got $1 million house, you got $1 million horse, or you got $1 million car.
Right.
And the auctioneer stands up, how many dollars would you pay it for? Let's start the bidding at $1 million. 111, $111, $1 million, 111 million, and nobody bids.
Nobody's playing.
So a typical routine is the auctioneer will drop the bids just a little bit and say, hey, will anybody give me $950,000? I'll take $950 right now. Of course I will. If you will give it to me, I will take it. But here's everybody standing here like this. We're not giving you no $950. So the auctioneer now cuts to the chase. We're tired of playing games because we're on a time schedule.
Right.
We got our sellers over here saying, hey, the sellers are signed up to say, hey, find out how much my property
They're
is
sweating
worth.
bullets over there.
Okay?
They're like, well, what's going to happen here? Yeah.
I want $1 million, but the seller might be sitting here thinking, I'll take $700,000.
Right.
Okay?
Which happened the other day.
Show me.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Yeah.
Show me the money. So this is what the auctioneer does, and this is where the magic happens. Hey, now, $950. I tell you what, let's just start the bidding at $50,000. See what happens.
I'm in.
50, 75, 1, 1 and a quarter, 1 and a half, 75, 2. The demonstration of value begins to evolve in this process because I, as the auctioneer, do not know what you're willing to pay.
Right.
So let's go back to the Monet. Okay, you would got $1 million to pay.
Sure.
But if you can get it for $600,000 or $700,000, I mean, what are you going to do, Nui?
I don't want to take it.
That's why I'm there, because I think I might get it for $600,000 or $700,000.
And
Or
if
I
you
want the
think you
opportunity.
can get it for $600,000 or $700,000, Nui, are you going to bid or are you going to participate?
Yeah, of course.
So, but you got $1 million in your pocket and you're only bidding $700,000, and Brian bids $750,000. Would you bid $800,000?
Yeah, whatever the next increment the auctioneer is asking.
But you have a choice to say, you could say, hey, I'll bid $760,000.
Yeah.
Right.
That's smart buyer techniques.
Right.
What the magic is the magic is in the hands of who?
The auctioneer.
Well,
Well, in the hands of the buyer, really. Yeah, in the
Exactly.
hands of the buyer.
you
Yeah.
know, everybody thinks that the auctioneer has this big gavel, we got a gavel, and you think this is that's the magic wand.
Right.
Now that's the deal maker,
Right.
but the magic created is with the buyers.
Right.
The buyers create the magic because they're saying, hey, we'll do this, we'll do this. The auctioneer is just a negotiator.
The magic happens out there amongst the buyers.
The magic happens.
Yeah.
So it's a myth, huge myth that it's only distressed properties. You know what? Let's go out and find something exciting today to sell.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Let's find something exciting today to get people excited. Bring it back to a webcast, a simulcast, a live auction. And if it's exciting, people are going to show up.
I'm looking for it.
People are going to show up. The magic happens when they start to bid. Another myth. What's another myth? Okay, you've had time to think. Come on, Nui, I want to put you on the spot. What is a myth?
Well, I want to extend to what you mentioned earlier. But I feel like from the part of the seller, they would want the highest amount that they think that is on street value. And the agent, if they represent the seller, the buyer, they would just like try to be pessimistic about it by saying like, oh no, why would you go auction, because you're not gonna get it sold at that price, or don't even put it on the auction because it's starting from the low amount. Who's gonna pay for the amount that it's worth? And you mentioned before that it's like, okay, if you think this house is worth this much, will you pay it? Why don't you buy it and gain profit from it. So why would you say that something is worth that much when you don't even want to spend the money to purchase yourself, right? And so the magic of it is that when you put in the auction, you would never know how much you could get from that property.
That's right.
The magic is that sometimes it goes higher than what you expect
Exactly,
it to
exactly.
sell.
We had one
Happens
the other
all the
day. It
time.
went over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Yeah. And it can sell faster. It can get the eyes on the property even more than before. Like the views on the Zillow or MLS, you starting from 10, 20, 100 views. And with us, our marketing tactics, it can reach up to over 10,000. That means more opportunity for people to buy and look at your property, right? And so I think that's incredible, and that's what we can do. And yeah,
A myth recap is if people, you don't think it's going to bring what you think it's worth.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
that's a myth. So it's like you'll never do that because the real estate agent says don't do that because it's never going to
Right.
happen. It's never going to happen. But where does the magic happen? When the people, when everybody here gets involved.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
would you want 21 offers or would you want 121 offers?
I want 121 offers.
So this is what Nui
Yeah.
is alluding to. Okay,
You think 21's a lot, but we get.
so
yeah.
how has the auction process solved some of the world's most complex problems? Okay, it's by letting people get involved. And so I say this all the time. And when you look at, okay, so Zillow and Realtor.com and Homes.com, they're all third party, you know, and they got great services, okay? And they have people that's paying attention to what they're doing. So a lot of times what we do is look at the Zillow numbers.
That's right.
All right? And we can tell how many views through Zillow and most, on average, it's between 500 and 1,000.
That's
okay?
right. Yeah.
All right. So it's been on the market for 50 days, got 500, 600, 700 views. You got maybe 25 or 30 people who has paid some interest. They save it. When we take this listing and we put it in our auction systems, Nui is correct. And she actually hit a low number. Most of our listings receive 8, 10, 12,000. But you know what? We've had listings that receive 25, 35, 45, 50, 159,000 views because now, how do you solve a complex problem? Is you get somebody interested in it.
That's right.
That's 159,000 times somebody is looking at the information. Constantly looking at the information, and therefore somebody shows up that says, oh, wait a minute, I'm interested now. So how do you solve the issues? We've talked about issues. You solve the issues by having people help you solve the issue. That is the magic.
That's right.
I let people help you solve
You don't have
the
a
issue.
price problem. You got a people problem.
You got a people problem.
You got to have more people. Yeah.
So I'm just going to make this statement right here. If you're a real estate agent out there and you're saying, "Oh, don't get involved because you'll never be able to win the property," myth. Oh, don't sell your property at auction because it's never going to bring what it's worth.
Right.
That's a myth.
And we always, another myth that we didn't discuss just now is a lot of people ask me, well, you know, we're just not interested in selling to just investors. They think, oh, all
Myth.
investors. I said, 98% of the people that buy our homes are the end user.
That's exactly right. So that's a great.
Yeah.
So expand on that myth just a little bit, Brian.
Well, that myth is we have all these investors and they're coming in and people have in their mind the courthouse step auction where you foreclosing, da-da-da-da-da, we're going to get a good deal, we're going to sell it under market, all that. We go back to the Fabergé egg, we go back to the Monet. Hey, we want all the eyeballs on it. We want all the people. Back to what's the problem? You're obscure, okay? We
Number
take it
one
out of
issue is obscurity.
We take it out of obscurity and we get it out there. We let people know about it. That's how you get the 159,000 views on Zillow.
That's exactly
Do you
right.
want 159,000 views? I looked at one the other day. He had 500. He'd been on for 100 days, and I was
100 days
like,
got 500 views.
and then had one showing.
You
And
want
I'm
me to
like,
tell you what the myth is?
Yeah.
No, this is not the myth. The myth,
reality?
The myth is that somebody thinks that you know that people are looking at their property. That's the myth.
That's right.
That is a myth because nobody's looking at it because of obscurity.
Right.
You know why? Because there's no mechanism there to create a word we haven't talked about. There is no mechanism to create urgency. And when you create urgency in this situation right here, people click those buttons and they say, I want to know.
That's
because
right.
everybody in the world wants to buy that Fabergé or they want to buy that Monet, just like Nui said. Listen, if I can get a deal, I want to get a deal, but I'm willing to pay just a little bit more. Now, if you put any certain number of people in a room, any certain people number in a room, and you have people saying, oh, I'll pay just a little bit more, I'll pay just a little bit. They're knowledgeable, okay? They understand the product. They have the correct change. In other words, they've got the money. They've got the money to buy. And when you put everybody in this environment, I don't care what product you have, now you can come back to the seller and say, you know what, we've just hit market price.
That's right. Plus our process, you don't know that one individual person, their grandma may live next door. You know, that house means more to them.
It makes it personal.
And they'll pay more, but they would have never known about it and
Brian,
wouldn't have never had a chance with this process.
Countless stories across the, I'm a member of an Auctioneers forum.
Right.
Countless stories all the time where somebody showed up at an auction and said, hey, you know what? You know, my grandfather used to own this farm and I'm going to buy it back.
Right.
What about the Pope's house, the current Pope's house?
Oh, yeah?
Okay. Yeah. It's up. I mean, you know, everybody.
The Pope in Italy, Pope?
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about? Oh, okay.
His boyhood home, I believe it's in Illinois.
Right.
It's going up for auction. And that might already happen. Why? Because everybody's saying it's worth this much, it's worth this much, it's worth this much.
Who wouldn't want to own the Pope's house,
Who
right?
wouldn't want to own the Pope's house?
Yeah.
So, you know, now they auction. You know what? My good buddy, Bob Dan.
Bob Dan.
You remember when the former Pope visited the U.S. here a few years ago?
Yeah, I remember.
And he was driving around this little Scooby-Doo get-up Fiat car or something, and, you know,
it was a Fiat, that's right.
The Pope Mobile.
Yeah.
Guess where it sold?
Auction.
It sold at auction. Why? Because Bob, now he's a great friend of mine.
Yeah.
Max Spann.
Yeah.
Great friends of mine. They know, hands down, they're up in New Jersey. You need an auctioneer in New Jersey, call them Max and Bob. Listen, they're great folks. All right? They knew that they had to expose this to the people. Now, somebody could have made a side deal. Now, this is the deal about side deals, and you mentioned this a while ago. A lot of people wants to make the side deal to do what?
To get a good deal.
To get a good deal.
And to resell it, maybe, yeah.
Auctioneers, yeah, you know what? We can buy some property. But our job is to get all the money that we can for you. Just like the Pope Mobile, the more people that was involved with that, the more people that was looking, the more press that you can have, the more urgency that you can create as more people who come to the table, the more people are looking. That helps sellers solve the problem of how much is my property worth.
It's called opportunity.
It's opportunity.
It's mega opportunity.
You create that urgency. Yeah. I'm going to tell you what, it's awful powerful.
That's right.
Real powerful. So let's recap. This has been a great segment about the magic and myths. I think that we can continue to do this right here with magic and myths because there's a lot of magic out there that happens. There's a lot of myths, everybody.
A lot of myths.
You know what? I appreciate Nui Auctioneer.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate Brian.
Thank you, Myers.
All right. This is going to end this segment of today's podcast. Man, this magic and this magic and myths.
It's
I think
fun.
we're on to something other right here. That was a good segment.
All
right. Get online at MyersJackson.com. YouTube channel, Myers Jackson 411. I'm going to tell you what, we're bringing to you real property with real auctioneers. And today, this segment has been great. My name is Myers Jackson, American Auctioneer, Nui Auctioneer, and Brian Davis. See you next podcast.
Good job.
Awesome.
That's great. That was real great.